All right, here we are. We're back. Me and Shannon, and we're talking about enrollment. Like, when does enrollment get easy? All right, so yeah, just give a little back.
Little background. Okay, well, this is my 3rd anniversary of signing up for the second round with you, Cate. And since getting in, I went from a 12-week program to a year-long program, a mentorship that is continuing. And I'm doing trimesters, not quarters, but I've been successfully enrolling people. And I've had a 2nd-year program, and now I have continuity as a 3rd year, where I've just been making these little it's like, okay, well, what do you want of what I'm offering? So I do these continuity packages, and it's just so fun to just kind of make up, like, people aren't exactly ready to leave. Yeah. So what can they do and pay for now for the year? So
okay, so let's pause there, because what I'm hearing there is if we were to run this like Master of Youth style through a SWOT, we'd say like one of the strengths, this is something that we recognized years ago and built into our strategy, was community. We call it community of belonging and becoming. And so when that's working, we need to really name it and strategize around exactly what that is. So when you're like, they come and they like they don't want to leave, right? Then like, yeah, that you developed a community of belonging and becoming. And what we can see there is often people aren't like, in their pain points before enrolling in a community like yours are not like, I just need a community to belong and become who I'm going to become next. They're like we were just talking about, they're like, I have uterine fibroids, or I have brain fog and I can't focus anymore, or like I have a stubborn 40 pounds and it seems to be creeping up instead of down. But to know on the back end that that's a core strategy, meaning that when you look at what in advertising is called the cost of acquisition, so the CAC, you have to measure the CAC against the lifetime customer value, the LCV. So the CAC to LCV, this is how like professional marketing companies talk, CACs, LCVs. And you're like, wow, what is my LCV? Of like, you're the people that really come and belong. So what do you think that number is? Like, how much money will someone who's in their 3rd year with you have transacted with you?
8,500, 9,000.
Okay, great. And when you ask people, those people, even if it's just a handful or two, like this is how it starts, right? It's like, what is the ROI for them? What's the return on investment for them?
Well, it's just a completely different orientation to what is possible in terms of self-care. I mean, it's like knowing what your body's signs and symptoms mean, or not knowing, or being confused about that. There's just so much. I mean, what I see is physical, agni, stoked, but also mental. There's so much mental clarity that comes after the 1st year. People are just clear about what's going on with them, or there's just a lot more clarity, say that. So that's so exciting to see. And
then power, are they in their power as opposed to outsourcing their power? Are they insourcing their power?
Oh yeah. I mean, that is the clarity that comes, is like, this is my body and it's relating to me. I mean, like there's this ongoing relationship that's always available that I can be part of or be unconscious to,
Yeah. So it's totally life-changing.
Yeah, it is. Totally. Yeah. People cry and are so grateful to have that. And it's hard to describe if you haven't, it's hard to describe that after feeling if you haven't gone through it, because they weren't necessarily looking for that or knowing they were missing that. So it's only through the experience of, getting more in touch that really wakes up.
Yeah. So there's possibilities they don't know are possible. And basically you can deliver on that. because it happens. I mean,
Ayurveda delivers on it, you know, like
well,
I'm ongoingly.
Ayurveda's out there, but if they don't sign on with you, then no guarantees. If they sign on with
If they don't do it, I mean, what happens when they sign on with me is they do what they either do what they know to do, or they do what they didn't ever know to do, but they start doing it one way or the other.
Yeah. And a mix of both, right? And a mix of both.
Right. Yeah. Some people come in kind of knowing this stuff. Some people come in really not knowing anything. Both have to live it in order for it to be effective.
Totally. Awesome. So this is good. And I'm so glad we're recording, because like you need to know what you do. And you need to know what people are thinking at the different stages so that they can get to lifetime customer value of what you're, and it's not, you don't need many people.
I don't. It's just the good news. Yeah.
And so what I have found, because like some of our courses have been around for 15 years, is, every year or so taking a big step back and saying, like, what does, like, not knowing and saying, well, what does this course do for who? And then looking at the numbers of like, how many of these people stick around? Where do they go next? What do they do? What did they do before they got here? What did they do after they left here? How many of them stick around? How many of them become like, where does this, like, what does this thing really do? Because, I mean, I think from an Eastern perspective of sort of like the magic of like, we create something and then it has its own life beyond us. So your course has a life that's beyond you, and you're channeling in where the group goes and building the structure for it to do that. But it does take on a life of its own. And just like a child, and I know you're a grown child and you've seen this, it's like, just like a child, like you get to have more impact in the beginning, but then it like does this thing, and it's like, who are you? And to ask that of our course of like, who are you and who's meant, and you can talk to, this is a really beautiful practice I learned from some of like Ken Wilber type trainings of it's the first person, second person, third person practice. So you can take any it, and an it is great. And you can take an it from third person and bring it into second person. So you can talk to, what's the name of your course?
Well, it's Living Ayurveda. Yeah, I've been doing some of that work with, I don't know if you know Hiro Boga. Have you encountered her along years? Oh, you should definitely check her out. She's amazing.
Boga?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I learned of her through Barry Tesler like 5 years ago. But her work is all inner work and energetic work. But that's one of the things that I went back and re-listened to some of those lessons that I had done sort of before I was ready. I didn't have enough outer structure at the time when I worked with her. Going back now, yeah, that's one of the key things she does is really separate. You get a felt sense image for the business and for yourself, and they're distinct. And then you're relating to these different images, and that helps so much to.
Okay, so let's do it then. Let's just do it. So let's talk to your course community, because it's a course curriculum community. It's all together, right? Yeah. So I want you to ask your course, are you still supposed to be named Living Ayurveda?
No, there's definitely a better name, but I don't have it now. But
wait, I'm not talking to Shannon. Yeah. I'm just talking to your course. What do you sense are some words that might be part of your name, or feeling essences, or images, or colors, or what do you want to feel like?
Well, the image that comes is this.
Answer in second person. Or answer in first person. Sorry. We'll do it this way. Answer in first person, because I want you to be the course for a minute.
Okay.
This is a trip. We're going on a trip.
Okay. We're going on a trip.
Okay. So who am I talking to?
So you're talking to Living Ayurveda.
No, I'm talking to Shannon's course, because I'm not sure what your name is, and I don't think you are either.
Okay.
Who am I talking to?
You're talking to
Shannon's course.
Shannon's course. All right.
Yep. Yeah, I'm talking to Shannon's course. Shannon's just watching and trying to interrupt us, but we won't let her get in the way, okay?
Yeah, so I'm a practicing community. I'm a place where people come and practice. That's what I am. I don't even think of myself so much. I mean, it is a course, but it's
Okay.
really, yeah.
Okay. So are you a club?
I'm not a club.
You're not a club. Okay. Are you a community?
I am a community for
Are
sure.
you're like a living
Practicing
community?
community. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So you're like a living, practicing community.
Yeah.
And when people come inside you, right? What happens?
That's a good question. I don't know how to answer that simply. When they come inside of me, they get oriented to the other people that are here, and they get oriented to the pace with which we're learning and practicing, and they get oriented to how we are together on the calls and how we are on the forum. And then they find their flow with the material, week by week.
So they find their flow. That sounds really important.
Yeah.
I like those words. Do you like those words?
Yeah, I like them because it's something I really emphasize is that the timing is very personal to how the learning happens, and that you're not in relationship to how other people's learning is going. It's really about you and where you're starting from. If you're not doing the Ayurveda, it means your practice isn't the right one for you, so we really emphasize that part of it.
Yeah. So like once people are in there, that message gets through and they find
Yeah. And so that people
flow.
are able to be successful because of that,
Yeah. Sweet. So when like Shannon wants more people in this club, in this community, in this practice community.
Right.
And it sounds like you're totally open to it.
I am. Yeah.
At Shannon's course. So like so what do you feel like, who should be in here, first of all? Like,
I think, that's part of the problem is I really feel like it is for everyone. I really focused on, like people, the midlife women initially, but now I have, a guy who I love, and I have all these younger women now. I have 30, young women, and I love the young women, and they're so into it. So I'm just realizing that it's really for everybody. As soon as you're ready to start practicing and living differently. And I'm realizing that, like, speaking from the point of view of myself for just a minute, one of the things that I really am so furious about is how dysfunctional the medical system is.
so stay with it and say one of the things Shannon is frustrated with.
Not even speaking about whether the medicine works or doesn't work. Like, that aside, that
Shannon's pissed. She's pissed about pharmaculture.
I have a woman with stage 4 cancer. I mean, for her to get the test she needs to get on a treatment plan, OMG.
Yeah.
OMG. It is.
Yeah.
I mean,
so the system's broken. So Shannon's super aware that the system's super broken.
And I'm just realizing this week, like, this is what I want to speak to. It's like, do you want to deal with this dysfunctional system? And whether you want to blame that, I mean, it's not the fault of the doctors, the nurses. I mean, I feel for everybody, but the system is it doesn't work.
Okay. Yeah, we get it. Pharmaculture doesn't work. The whole thing doesn't work. Okay. So it's like, live your practice. Would you want to
empower yourself to take care of yourself? Because this is not a real option. I mean, if you want to wait.
Yep, good. And so Shannon's pissed, and she can probably use her anger. It's like Kali and channel it. So how does Shannon need to change her marketing and her messaging and even naming you so that the right people can get in? And I'm liking live your practice. And so what I would do is change your name just between you and me. And
who
then
are you talking to right now?
I'm talking to Shannon's course.
Okay.
So you're going to change your name.
Just want to be clear, because
I'm only talking until I tell you I'm not talking to Shannon's course. I'm talking to Shannon's course. This is hard, but it's so good. It gets us out Then we can park Shannon on the sideline for a little bit. And so Shannon's pissed. And I think Shannon can really use this anger and find her voice. I think she's been sweet and soft and lovely, and now she's collie, and I think she needs to be. And I think that's part of why this works, is she's so passionate and so driven, and that's why Live Your Practice works, or whatever your name is.
Yeah.
Because she has drive and cares and has sadhana, truly. And sadhana requires tapas, and tapas generates heat. And now she's letting your heat actually go into her marketing. So like, bam, sounds like that's good. So what does Shannon need to, what else does she need to change besides your name in marketing, so that people can get into you, into Shannon's course?
Well, I mean, it's like there's these different dots that have been established, and people are definitely responsive. Like, they're getting the community piece, they're drawn. I had several, people are feeling into community and into being in a practicing group, that so everybody's kind of on the same page. I think this piece around the alternative really needs to be named in different ways.
Yeah.
Like, because there's the alternative in terms of the drug path versus not doing the drug path, but then there's also the crisis in help, being able to get anything in that.
So what I'm hearing is that Shannon has, because of you and because of the results that this co-creative container between you and Shannon, that like she sees that like the results are super freaking real and they're really affordable. And yet so many people don't know what their options are and their choices are, or where the current paths on them lead. And that should really be a core part of their marketing.
They think that they do. They kind of think that they do. See, that seems to be the big problem. It's like, because I live in a progressive area where a lot of people do kind of know what to do. They know they need to exercise. They know they need to eat well.
They're not doing it. That's your whole point. It's until they get into...
They're doing it to some extent. They're not doing it to the extent they need to.
And they don't have the community that's upping the sadhana.
That's the part they don't know. It's like they kind of, they have a little inkling that there might be a little something, but they don't. So
how much is Shannon sharing in the marketing and sales process, what's happening inside the community, and how is she doing that well?
Well, I think I talk a lot about, we're a practicing community. This isn't like a academic course. I'm not teaching.
Is she sharing stories of the people and the transformations in video?
This trimester, I had a couple. I did some interviews of the success stories. Yeah. And sent those
clips. Are there like short clips, like 1 minute clips?
No.
Okay. So it sounds like your job as Shannon's course community curriculum is to show people on the outside what's happening on the inside in ways that people can get the messages, and they can start to see the difference, and they can see the gap between where they're at and what's happening inside you.
Yeah. And then, I mean, the other thing is it's like, it does take a little bit more time, but on the other hand, it doesn't take any more time, because you're sleeping anyway, you're eating anyway, you're showering anyway, like you're exercising anyway. So you might as well do it in a way that actually supports you. You might as well kind of refine it. Do you know what I mean? I think people just feel like it's like all this stuff that they have to do, plus they have to be vegan or something.
So people think that by joining you as Shannon's course that you're going to require time, but what I'm hearing, what you're saying is that you actually free up people's time.
Yeah, it's not more time. I mean, it's a tiny bit of time to learn the stuff, but you're doing the stuff anyway. You're just not doing it well. You're not doing it aligned with your body. You don't know how, you're not starting from, okay, where am I at? You're not asking those questions, then you don't know how to proceed once you get the answers to those questions. You don't know with as much clarity as you could know. You don't really know. therefore you don't
Great. And is
really know what's
Shannon communicating
possible.
that? Is Shannon communicating that in her messaging?
Oh, it's hard sometimes. I really go after different things at different times, but I think I haven't connected all the dots
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
It's like I've established, like a lawyer, I've established different facts at different times. But I feel like what hasn't been successful is that people aren't coming away just like, I have to do this. I feel like that should be the response. Like, I have to do this. Like, I need to know this stuff. Like, yeah, I'm not getting better day by day. I'm not getting better year by year. And I don't feel good just going to the doctor.
Yeah. Okay.
Or
So
even going to the naturopath, I hear that and I just kind of, because I don't feel like that's empowering either. That maybe that's a slightly better
same
form of
model, right?
medicine.
Like different medicine,
The
same
same,
model.
that's right. It's the same model and it's
Yeah.
expensive and all these, it's like, okay, yeah, go get a baseline blood. I'm all for blood work, see where you're at. But
Yeah. Okay. So I just want to say on the voice dialogue, you need to do this again
okay.
in journal form, and you need to get into the feeling essence experience of what the course is becoming and what people on the outside think it is versus what it is, because there's a ton of information in there and you're not solving it with the same rational egoic mind that you answered these questions from, but it's fine. Like, and that's good and done. And so now I'll talk to Shannon, because you never got there, but there's so
I
much
hear you.
in there because you can
Yeah.
go into thou and listen. So you're not doing it with another person. You just do it as I, thou. Like your I is Shannon, like thou, and saying like, what do I need to show that's on the inside here to the outside there? And like, and what we know is like long interview form can be good. Short clips can be good. Like before and afters are really important. Like before and after pictures, before and after testimonials, like all that. You got to convey what's happening in there on the outside. And you're absolutely right. Like I want you to just sit down and map out and we'll do this in YHC in a couple of minutes, is like really look at from now to the end of the year, like what are the core messages that people need to see, hear, questions they need to ask themselves, bits of pieces they need to tune into in order to actually understand what their options are, right? Because their option is this, or it's being in the community. My sense is with the naming, and I know you're on practice is not going to sell. The end result of the practice is going to sell. The practice is the means to the end. The community is also the means to the end. So if you're not going to go with something like club that connotates that it's a community or a group or whatever, like something that shows, because community is not going to sell. It's not a sexy word right now. It's just not. Even if people know they need it. And so that's where other words that connotate that are important, because they know that they're doing this together, and that may or may not work. But otherwise it's something about like, it's just like, I don't know, it's something around, what is it? Live your flow. I mean, it could be that simple. Like I would just start with, do what I did on my forum. I posted 10 names, told them to vote.
Recently. Yeah.
Get engagement.
This is great, Cate. This is helpful. This is giving me a direction that I can do. And I love the inquiry and just opening up to discovering from the point of view of community.
Yeah, it's so good.
What's happening. And I appreciate what you're saying about the marketing and the words, because I believe you. I know you're working on all of this, and I know the words really matter.
Yeah, and what's like, what you got to speak to the result, you got to speak to like what's the result that people in Shannon's course, right? If we go back to that, like, what is the result? Lifetime customer value. And when you look at that lifetime customer value, it's like, oh, right, if I have 20 people investing a year, the lifetime customer value of those 20 new people a year, it's like, that's supportable. Or like 30 or 40 or whatever, raise your prices, right? It's like the money doesn't matter, like the prices don't matter, because the end results are so life-changing. And then in the sales process, I would just go back to some of our sales training and be like, where are my bad habits in this? Am I accepting, if you're accepting time and money objections, there's issues underneath the issues you're not getting to.
No, I don't. I mean, accepting is an interesting word, but No, those are easy. Money's easier than time. I mean, time is just, there's never a good time for, time is
There's no,
just,
yeah.
seize the day, COVID showed us, like, we just don't even know what's coming. We think we have all the time, but we don't know. Things could shut down again, they're not going to, but so
Yeah.
seize the moment. This
And
is
then
an
when you're angry and you're on a rant, like actually Emily Cole and I in YHC, we recorded last week, I think it's in the Wisdom and Wealth Forum, on doing like a personal statement, basically like what's your, I
I
can't remember what
saw
we call it. Yeah. But I would do, it's like channel your anger for transformation. I
Mhm.
mean, that's all I usually do is just like, oh my gosh, this is ridiculous. And it's like, okay, what are the messages people need to see? And then how do I empathize? How do I empathize with where people are really at? We did a big chunk on empathy
Well, there's
last
a
night
lot of
on the Ask
empathy to
Cate.
have. We've been brainwashed to think that the doctor is really the one who knows, and like,
Yeah.
even people,
There, bam,
doing
Facebook
everything else. It's
Live.
like well, I saw Emma Landau, who's an Ayurveda practitioner. She was saying that, like, we need to question our assumptions. And I thought that was such a great turnaround on this.
Great.
Like, question
That's
your
your message.
assumptions.
That's your campaign. That's
Yeah.
your campaign. Okay, we got to go to YHC now. See you in there.
Okay. See ya. Bye, Kate. Thanks so much.